Hello everyone, this is an impact driver. Now, it's an underrated tool of yesteryear, but it seems to be making a bit of a comeback at the moment. Just recently I've noticed several videos talking about the impact driver. None of them seem to give it its full credit. In this video I'm going to put that right. This is the impact driver in close-up. Now, I know it doesn't have any flashing lights or posh screens. In fact, it doesn't even have a battery. So how on earth can an old school tool like this be useful to a 21st century mechanical god like yourself? Well, that's what this video is all about. First, we look at the basic jobs an impact driver can be used for. I'll show you how to set it up and how to use it. Next, I'll disassemble the whole thing and explain how it functions. Lastly, I'll show some operating techniques and give you some tips to enhance your impact driver's performance. Now, this is where my impact driver lives. As you can see, the years have not been kind to the cardboard box. However, what's inside this box? Well, what do you know, it's another box, but this one's made of metal. And inside this box, we find an impact driver. And that's what this kitty is here. Also in the box, there are 4 bits which fit into the end of the impact driver. Now, the bit has a 8mm AF hex on the end, and this end of the driver also has an 8mm hex socket, so they can fit in just like that. Now we have 4 sizes in here. We have crosshead, a medium and a large, and we have the slot head, a medium and a large as well. Also, if we take that off and put it down here, this piece is actually an adapter. If we grab that and push, we can unclip it. Now what that shows is the business end of the driver is actually a 1/2" square drive socket. Now we can put sockets onto that drive like that, and now the driver can loosen nuts or bolts. Now let's take that off again. Say that nut or bolt that we want to loosen is a long way away. Well, we can simply add an extension from the socket set, and we can then put our sockets on the end of that, or indeed we can put the adapter on the end of that and then use one of the other bits to undo a screw which is some way away from the impact driver. Okay, let's look at the basic functionality of the impact driver. I have in its end a crosshead bit, and I have in this piece of wood a crosshead screw, and they fit nicely into each other. Now, the functionality of this impact driver is exactly the same for taking the screw out of a piece of wood to what it would be taking a screw out of a piece of metal or the side of an engine. Now, the impact driver can be in one of 2 positions. If you grab the body and twist it one way, if it doesn't move, then twist it the other and it clicks. They are the 2 positions that it can be in, either fully anti-clockwise looking down from the top or fully clockwise looking down from the top. And this is what decides whether this bit is going to go clockwise or anti-clockwise. Now we want to unscrew this fixing, so we want to turn that fixing anti-clockwise. So what that means is we need to bias this top piece round to the left in an anti-clockwise position, and you see it clips up. And now when we clump the head here with a hammer, 2 things are going to happen. The first is that shock is going to go straight through the driver and into the head of the screw, pushing the bit into the crosshead screw head and keeping it nice and secure. The second thing that happens is through a cam mechanism inside here, it will shock the tip to go in an anti-clockwise position. So let me show you. I have a hammer here. I'm now fully anti-clockwise on the body and I'm pushing it against the stop. So I can't move this anymore. If I now tap on the top here, you see that the bit goes anti-clockwise. I do it once more, like that, and once more, like that. If I want to screw this up and tighten the screw, I move the body clockwise, because we now want to turn this bit clockwise looking down from the top, and then hold it against the stop. So I've gone clockwise, I'm now holding it against the stop, and I will now tap it, and you can see it turning clockwise. 1, 2, 3. Now, there's something else that you must be aware of when you're using this tool. If we want to unscrew this screw, so we're going to bias the head of the impact driver around to the left in an anti-clockwise position. So that's the position that we want, and we want to go anti-clockwise. Now, I said that you have to hold the body of the driver anti-clockwise before you hit it. Now, the reason you need to do that is because every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So when you hit this and it twists the tip round anti-clockwise, it tries to turn the body clockwise. So the anti-clockwise movement of the bit is actually against your grip holding the body. Now, if I let go of the body and I just hold it with 2 fingers, if I now hit the head, you can see that the screw doesn't move. And that's because the cam coming down, it hasn't got anything to react against except the weight of the body, because it's got to accelerate that weight. So I'll do that again. So I'm just holding it, and you can see that it bounces out, but there's no movement in the head. If I now hold it and push against the stop and now tap it, straight away the head starts to move. So you must hold the body of the impact driver quite firmly for it to work correctly. If you're enjoying this video, can you please go and press the thumbs up button? It doesn't cost you a penny, and it's really good for the channel. It also shows me that somebody out there is enjoying my videos. Right, let's take this impact driver apart. The first thing we're going to need to remove is the circlip around here, and that should let the internals come out through the top of the body. We've got to get the clip off. If I push it apart here, I can now slide a screwdriver down the back here. Now if we work our way around to the front, we should be able to pick it up like this. And here's the clip. So that we can put on the bench so we don't lose it. And now, let's see which bit comes off next. Hold the driver in the vise by its square shaft. Now rotate this ring until the dot just here lines up with the slot just there. At that point the ring can be pulled forward and off the body. Removing the ring has exposed this round thing, and there's another one on the other side of the body as well. Secure the square shaft in the vise once again. Push to compress the mainspring and turn the body slightly. Now, be careful, the 2 round things you've seen are in fact the rear faces of 2 ball bearing cases. They've been kept in position by the spring pressure which you've just taken off. This is one of the cases and its ball, and this is the other. With the balls and their cups removed, the rotor is now free of the main body. They slide apart like this. Only 2 more parts left to discover. Tap the body on the bench and the main spring slides out. It's followed by its pressure plate. These are all the parts that make up the impact driver. Now, how does it work? As you can see, there are 2 ball bearings here and here. They fit into their own cups. Each ball and cup perform the same function, but on either side of the main body. The balls fit nicely into their cups, and the cups fit nicely into the main body. Because of this, we can look at the balls being a part of the main body. They don't move independently from it. This is the rotor out of the main body of the driver. Once assembled to the main body, this groove is where one of the ball bearings of the main body runs. Now, remember, the ball bearings are a part of the main body. The mainspring in the body of the driver is pushing the rotor down in this direction. The rotor can't come out of the body because the balls are retained in the V-shaped groove just here. Right, we want to loosen this screw. The bit of the driver is in the head of the screw. The hand has turned the body of the driver fully anti-clockwise, and it's now retaining the pressure against that stop. On the inside of the driver, the ball bearing is held just here in the V-slot of the rotor. The hand is pushing it anti-clockwise, and the mainspring is pushing it up into the top of the slot. We are now ready to hit the top of the driver with a hammer. Now, let's slow things down so we can understand how the impact driver actually works. When I say the words clockwise or anti-clockwise, this is looking down on the driver from above. I bring down the hammer onto the top of the driver. This impact has started to accelerate the body of the driver down. As the body moves down, so do the two ball bearings it holds. The balls contact the slope of the rotor just here. The energy they impart generate two shock loads. One load is pushing the screwdriver bit down into the head of the screw, helping it to grip. The second load is generated by the slope the ball is trying to skid down. As that happens, the body of the driver wants to turn clockwise, but you're holding the body tightly in your hand. So if the body can't go clockwise, the rotor receives a shock trying to move it anti-clockwise. This is a shock that you hope will loosen the screw the driver is inserted into. And that is how the impact driver works. Now, a couple more things before I disappear. The first thing is you're about to unscrew a fixing which you think is going to be stuck, or you can't do it with a normal screwdriver. Before you put the impact driver in to unscrew it, take hold of the bit from the impact driver, place that in the head of the screw, and then hit it quite sharply with a little hammer. It doesn't have to be too heavy, but knock it down to seat the bit into the head of the fixing, and that will give you a better chance of unscrewing it. The other thing is, if that fixing has been chewed up a little and you're worried that it's going to slip, grab hold of some valve grinding paste. You get fine at one end, coarse at the other. Use the fine grinding paste and put just a little bit of that in the crosshead of the screw, or actually in the slot of the screw, and that will give you your best chance of getting it out, because that grinding paste, being very sharp and hard, it will dig into the surface of your bit but also dig into the surface of the screw and increase the friction between the two greatly, and that will give you a good chance of getting it out. Now, when you come to buy your impact driver, have a look in the kit and see what bits come with the driver. Now, you're going to need a crosshead bit, and that's either going to be Phillips or Posi-Drive. Now, make sure that you've got the one that you're going to be using, or probably both of them in there if you can. Check that they're well formed and that the edges are nice and sharp, and that'll give you the best chance of getting a good grip on them. The other one is on the slot head. Now, this is a good design of slot head, and you notice that the slot actually comes in, or the blade comes in, and right at the end it's almost parallel. And now that's good, because as the screwdriver tries to turn, those parallel sides will go up against the side of the screw and hopefully undo the fixing. Now, this is a bad design. Now, if you look at that, it looks like a chisel that comes down, and that will do two things. It will actually open up the head or the slot inside your screw, but it will also, when you're trying to unscrew it, it will actually try and ride up the slopes. So that's a bad design, trying to keep away from that. If you end up with one like that, like I have, I'm going to be grinding that flat at the bottom. Not too thin, because it has to take all the load of the driver. And that's it. Could you do something like this? Of course you can. And with that, this video is at an end. Take care, everybody. I'll see you next time.